Okay, I'm ready. I'm Arnold Wasserman, and I'm chairman of Collective Invention and the Idea Factory. So I have two ideas that I'd like to make sure kind of get expressed with respect to the Advisory Council's work here. And one is that in thinking about moving toward an academic curriculum, combined academic and creative arts curriculum, I'd like to raise the question of whether NOCCA is thinking big enough. Now, that may sound silly because just the scope of what you're thinking about already seems daunting and maybe overpowering. But I wonder if you're not putting too big an idea in too small a box. I think what would happen if you thought that what you were really doing was had the potential to transform public education in America, because I think it does. To try to get the state of Louisiana and the appropriators of funds from the state of Louisiana to fund something that has national scope just may be an impossible mission. And you may be constantly truncated and frustrated in your effort to operate on a large enough basis to really do the R&D that you need to do over the period of time that you need to sustain it in order to go through enough trial and error cycles to begin to get something worth rolling out nationally. So what if you were to go private and talk to George Soros? I'm scenarizing here. You talk to George Soros, who has been adamant on the subject of America's failing education system and how it is truly destroying the American economy and society. And you went to George and you said, look, we think we know how we can fix the education system, but we can't get sufficiently funded deeply enough for a sufficient period of time to do it on the basis of a Louisiana box. So would you please give us $1 billion to establish an endowment from which we can draw $10 million, which is what we need to operate this thing for 5 years. And that will give us the opportunity to run the R&D, go through the prototyping, go through the iterations, and then come out with something that can be rolled out nationally. So that's the first idea, is that you need to think in a large enough context to make it possible for you to do what you want to do. The second idea I have is to make explicit the model, the sort of meta model that you want to impart to students and you want teachers to be able to deliver. And that meta model, I've created this elaborate chart here. And this elaborate chart, can you zoom in on that?
Right.
It says that there are two kinds of knowledge. There's know what and know how. And the know what is the data, the codified knowledge, the problems for which there are correct answers. The know how is knowing how to find out what you need when you need it in order to do what you're trying to do. And know how has been the main focus of the learning model at NOCCA, the kind of knowledge that's imparted at NOCCA, with also some know what. I mean, musical theory is over here, is know what. How, the chops to be a musician is over here in the know how. And then that's the axis of knowledge. Then on the axis of channel is experiential knowledge and cognitive knowledge. And so somewhere in these quadrants and rotating around these quadrants is the essence of the DNA, I would say the recombinant DNA that we're trying to create here at NOCCA, taking the existing NOCCA DNA and gene engineering it so that it becomes both an academic and creative arts program. The ethos has to do with knowing when to be in which quadrant at what moment during the day. And the real skill of the teacher is knowing when to guide the thought process into which of these quadrants in the process of coaching and mentoring their students. Thank you. Those are my two idea contributions.